Cool. Yeah, I'm here with Scott Kerman here at the Blanchet House in Old Town. My office actually used to be right over on 5th and Cooch.
Okay.
Yeah, so for back when Thesis was called E-Right. Anyway, this neighborhood is near and dear to my heart. And so you've been at Blanchet House for about 5 years?
5.5 years.
5.5, so like right before COVID hit. And now for me, I feel like the services that you're doing is like it's not just what I think, it's like surveys have been done. It is like the most important part of the solution of our biggest problem that we have as Portland, which is addiction recovery and homeless services, basically, right? But Blanchet House has been around for a long time, but just kind of talk about how it was like you coming in right before COVID hits, and just, I mean, you've been in the thick of really hard things. Like, talk to us a little bit about like some of those, challenges.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me here.
Yeah,
and this
of course.
opportunity to talk. Blanchet House has been serving for 73 years. I mean, we've been in this part of Old Town for a very long time, and I think Old Town is fabulous. There's so much history and culture, and social services are an important part of that, and we're so privileged to be a part of that history and still be serving here. And when I started this job, it was about 6 or 7 months before the shutdown, and it was a very chill job. I mean, it was. It
got very unchill very quick.
I had been working in schools, and I loved working in schools as a teacher and in school leadership. But, schools can be kooky and kind of crazy, in lots of ways, and so I really enjoyed this, just kind of being with the residents here in our program, getting to know Blanchet Farm.
45 in this building.
Yeah, we can actually do up to 50
Okay.
men in a long-term transitional housing program, giving people a chance to get back on their feet. We have about 20 men at Blanchet Farm, and that
Which
is
is
for
in Yamhill County.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
Carlton, and that's for people who are struggling with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then our meal service program. And
Which is like 400 people. I just came right after lunch, and they said they've served 400 meals.
yeah, I mean, we're doing, we did, about 360,000 meals in that cafe, free
Wow.
hot meals last year.
From the farm, and
We collect about, last year, 275 tons of food we rescued in the community, from wholesalers, restaurants, the Modus Center, the Oregon Convention Center, all kinds of places.
That's cool.
There's a lot of food that unfortunately isn't used and ends up in the landfill, and so, I mean, food rescue is such an important part of what we're doing, because it saves our landfills.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to save our environment, but we're also taking, good quality, unexpired food, and we're feeding people healthy, nutritious meals. So,
yeah, you and I were talking before this, and one of the reasons why I started We Believe in Portland to pick up trash is because it was much simpler than dealing with humans. I felt a little paralyzed by the complexity of the issue of addiction and homelessness, and it felt, I don't know, maybe a little uncomfortable and unsafe. I did volunteer a little bit at Portland Rescue Mission, but I think a lot of my peers are like, I know you have a big volunteer group here, but I guess the premise of the question is like, relationship building is the core of what needs to happen to be a part of the solution for homelessness.
Right.
Is that, yeah.
We can't help people if they don't come to trust you,
Right.
if they don't come to believe that you believe in them. Look, we're serving people who have been abused, neglected, judged, betrayed, disappointed their whole lives, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to trust. It's hard for them to have faith and hope, and for good reason, considering what they've experienced. And so here we are saying, we believe in you, you can trust us, we want to give you reason to hope. But that is earned over time.
Right.
And I think the fact that we are so consistent and stable in what we do it the same way 3 times a day, 6 days a week, without judgment, without expectation of anything in return. And what we find again and again is over time, someone gets the courage, they get the belief to sort of approach a staff person, one of our peer support, and say, hey, I think I'm ready to ask for help.
Yeah, and it's like up to 8 months. It's more like transformational change instead of like you're in and out and you're back on the streets.
Yeah. We just, well, I mean, and I'm speaking specifically of our meal service program.
Okay.
And, you know, and I mean, we just recently were able to help someone who's been coming for meals here for many, many, many years get housing. But it took 5, 6, 7 years for this individual to finally approach us and say, I think I'm ready for some help. I think I'm ready to get off the street.
Yeah.
And it may just take that much time.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you know, by being patient, by waiting for them, you know, to come to us, not trying to force anything.
Right,
we're just saying we're here.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, we're ready, you know, to help you. And if it doesn't work for you the first time, we'll be here again.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it might take 2 or 3 times, and that's also true with our residents.
That's
it
like
doesn't always
lifelong
take.
friends, like you, yeah.
Right. So
what you know, what do you? I lost my train of thought a little bit here, but what do you need the most? Like a lot of my audience is in the business community, and you have what you know, like volunteers keep coming back, but do you need volunteers? Is it dollars? I know you're more of an independent nonprofit that doesn't really rely on county dollars and things like that. But yeah, what do you need most from the business community?
We need a variety of support, and what we love is that we offer a lot of different opportunities for people, and so they can support us in ways that feel meaningful to them and also maybe what they're able to do. Mm-hmm. And so it takes about 45 to 50 volunteers a day to do what we do. That's helping us serve meals or coming between meals and helping us in the kitchen or helping us sort clothing.
Yeah.
We also have volunteers, individuals and groups and families who make care kits, hygiene kits, full of supplies that we can hand out, sack lunches, run a clothing drive, you know, sponsor a coat drive at your church or at your business or at your school, or a sock drive. Young children, there are ways for them to get involved as well. And then, you know, of course, money, right? Yeah. I mean, our budget next year is probably going to be close to $5 million. Next year will be 100% independently funded. This year, for the first time, we got a little bit of county funding, but that's not coming back in the next county budget. But we've been doing this independently, just getting funded by generous people in our community for, you know, 73 years.
Yeah.
And that's, we're prepared to do that, and we've been so fortunate. People really respond to not just what we're doing, but also, more importantly, the people that we're serving. And I think a lot of that comes from when people come down here and volunteer. And when you're volunteering with us, you are serving food to people. And we serve it like restaurant style.
Yes,
so you're actually putting a plated dish in front of somebody and looking them in the eye and saying, you know, I hope you enjoy your breakfast.
Yeah.
And then other volunteers are going around, you know, with pitchers in their hand, and they're serving coffee, milk, or juice, or water, or you're bussing tables. I mean, there's a lot of hospitality involved, and I think that has a real effect on people who are volunteering, and they come away from it with a much different perspective on homelessness, mental health crisis, substance use disorder, but also the human beings who are suffering. No,
that's great. All right, switching gears to the personal side. I don't know how long you and your wife, and you have 3 adult kids, but how long you've been in Portland, but even how long has that been?
Yeah, so we got here in 2002.
Okay, so quite a while. So you probably have 2 or 3 favorite spots, lightning round. What are they?
Well, you know, actually, so my wife and I just became empty nesters. You know, the kids are either well into college or out of college. They don't come home for summer anymore. We got McMenamin's passports.
Oh, okay.
And so we're one of those couples now. And so we love just getting out and going to different McMenamins, and it's
What are there, like 32 or something?
Oh no, there's all over, right? I mean, there's we're going to have to go to Central Oregon and Southern Oregon and into Washington State, and so it's been a real way for us to just get out of our kind of comfort zone and the community that we live in, even though we love it. But it's sort of forced us to get out and sort of explore new places and have those kinds of adventures. And we also started, we're now fostering guide dog for the blind puppies.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're no longer really empty nesters because we have a 5-month-old puppy.
That's great.
And we'll have her for about a year or so, and then she'll go off to guide dog boot camp, and then hopefully we'll succeed.
And I told you, one of our favorite dogs, Pedro, he was a flunky. After a year, they like kind of, hey, you're gonna be great. And I think they get like $30,000 worth of training in a year.
Yeah.
That's what they calculate.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but
And Blanchet Farm is in Yamhill County. It's in Carlton, so just outside of Newburgh, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm at Blanchet Farm about once a week for that program has really introduced me to the Willamette Valley, to the cities and communities, and so my wife and I love exploring the Willamette Valley. Going to wineries, of course, but even some of the little towns have great bakeries and restaurants.
It's
beautiful.
The state of Oregon is just stunning, and it's March, and it's actually like 75 and sunny, which is unheard of. So thanks a ton for being on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers.